So this is how to make the world's easiest curry. I'm going to start with 2 onions, a dollop of oil. We're going to fry the onions. So step 1 is to chop the onions. So we're going to fry the onions for quite a while until they're quite brown. This is going to take about 10 minutes or thereabouts. So we're just going to need to have plenty of oil. And oil's good for you, so have no fear. And we'll let the onions fry in plenty of oil. Yep, that's probably 2 tablespoons of oil, and I'll add another one, so we'll have 3 tablespoons or 4 tablespoons of oil. Still on? So the next step is we need some mince. And any mince will do. You do not need fancy mince. Cheap mince is as good as any other mince. So we've got half a kilo of mince. You can reheat frozen mince, it works just fine. So once the onion is cooked, I'm going to add the mince. That's all. It's very easy. Alright, so the onions have been going about 5 minutes. They're still not brown, but they're starting to lose all their water, which is a good start. We're over a medium heat. Not very hot, not cool, but medium. And now, actually at this point, if you're in a hurry, you can add the meat, no trouble at all. Because you can fry the mince with the onion, so the frying of the mince will actually brown the onions some more as well. So that's what we'll do. You can see the onions starting to just get a little brown around the edges. Put the mince in, and then just break the mince up like this. And once you've broken the mince up, we're just going to fry the mince until it's brown. While the mince is frying, time to get some spices. You're going to need curry powder, and you're going to need, the best curry powder is this Cape Herbs and Spice garam masala, but any curry powder will do. Okay, so the mince is nearly done. It's still got a wee way to go. So it's, you can see it's not quite brown yet, and it's still got a bit of moisture coming off, so we're going to leave that cooking. And when it's done, we're going to add the magic ingredient, so follow me. So the magic ingredient is not in there. The magic ingredient is over here. This is a Korean beef stock, which makes all things taste better, and we're going to use a decent amount of that and some garam masala in the mince. But while I wait for the mince to cook, I'm going to chop up some vegetables. So I'm going to chop up some potatoes, and we've got some chickpeas and some tomatoes are going to go in there. So the potatoes, we leave the skin on, chop them quite rough, about like that, and then we're going to chop up some carrots as well. And since I'm doing this, I may as well put the oven on because we're going to cook this quite slowly. So we're going to cook this at about 170 in the oven for many hours in this pot. So this mince looks about done. It really does take quite a while. It's dried out and it's now browning on the bottom of the pan. That's the point. That's the point where you want to add the spices. So we grab the magic Korean sauce stock, and we're going to sprinkle in about 3 tablespoons of that. Then we're going to sprinkle in a couple of tablespoons of this Cape curry, which is very nice big bits of spice, so we'll do a couple of tablespoons of that. And I've got a little bit of what's called meat masala, which is a thing I got at the Indian shop, which is super cheap. Just costs almost nothing. And then we're just going to stir that up while the meat is dry. Notice I'm adding nothing else, and what happens is the meat will now absorb the flavour of the stock and the spices. And the moment that's done, I'll give it about a minute of stirring. At that point we're going to add some garlic, this is the Springbrook chopped garlic from the Asian shop. It's actually from Blenheim, and it is marvellously easy to use. You just plunk that in, and we will stir that up, cooking the garlic. At this point it starts to smell good. Now in the meantime I've boiled the kettle, and you get that delicious smell of garlic going around the place. It really does smell great. And I'm going to add the vegetables. First of all, the potatoes, which I chopped up. About 6 potatoes there were, maybe 7. That's going to that's going to be the bulk of the curry, really. And about 4 carrots, which can also go in there. These things take a little while to cook, so we'll just throw them in. And we're going to chuck in about half a cup of red lentils. About that many. And we're going to chuck in some green split peas. Whoa. The split peas make a delicious sort of creamy sort of texture to the curry. So some split peas, once again about half a cup. The curry's nearly done. And all we're going to do is add some liquid. Now, I use some tomatoes chopped in juice. These are the cheap ones. I normally use oak tomatoes, which are actually New Zealand tomatoes, but they're sold out at the moment. So the first bit of liquid I use is these tomatoes. Pour that in, and then I'm going to get a little bit of the boiling water and add that. And I'm going to add enough to bring the water level up to just beneath where the vegetables are, like that. So, now an optional ingredient at this point, which if you feel like being kind of luxurious, is going to be to add some chickpeas. So we'll add some chickpeas to this because we haven't quite filled the pot up. So at this point what we're trying to do is bring this pot to the boil and get all the ingredients of the curry. So basically you empty the kitchen sink into this box. Right, so chickpeas. I'm going to use a can of chickpeas, Wattie's chickpeas, but any chickpeas will do. I'm going to sieve them, strain them, I guess, get rid of the liquid. So we just let that liquid settle out. You can pour that off if you want, but we're not going to. We're just going to put that in here. Chickpeas are nice because they don't break up with cooking, so they'll stay nice in little solid lumps. The potatoes will gradually dissolve into the curry. So at that point we need a little more liquid because remember we've added lots of lentils and split peas and they will absorb a bit of liquid. The vegetables won't absorb liquid, so we don't want to add too much. But we are going to add, after we've cooked it for a little while, we'll add some frozen spinach. But at this point, we've done almost everything we need. A little bit of pepper. It doesn't need salt because this magic Korean stock is quite salty. So a little bit of pepper. And now we bring this to the boil. Alright, so the pot is now boiling. I'm going to add just a little bit more water because it's not quite full enough. We want to add a little bit of extra for the lentils and split peas to absorb. After I've done this, I'm going to just stir it a bit, make sure it's not sticking to the bottom, and then I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to put it in the oven. Just giving it a stir. You can tell it's got a nice brown look of the curry, and we're going to leave it in the oven for quite a long time. Switch off there, pop it in the oven. Here I've got the oven at 160, and just going to put the whole pot in there and let it cook. You could cook it on the stove, but I have a gas stove, so that'll take too long and use too much gas.